Audio, yes. Film,
Lights.
recording, lights, camera.
Action.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay.
Elke week.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Watch Talk. I'm here as myself, Lavi, with my co-host, the KOV. And today, as you can see, we're missing our coffee. And they're working on it. As soon as we get the coffee, Rutger will bring them, of course.
Of course, he's the
coffee
The coffee
guy.
guy.
The coffee guy.
Master.
Coffee master, he corrected us.
barista.
So people, as you know, we like to have some specialties, I would say. And we stick to usually 4 brands. As you know, those are Rolex, AP, Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, and Cartier. But most of all, what we like is watches. So every now and then, there's an oddball out. And I think we have I believe we have a nice selection of some oddballs.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we are enjoyers of watches and purveyors of the finest timepieces.
Oh,
Thank
merci,
you.
merci mon ami. Thank you, Coffee Master.
History has to offer. So we are always happy to welcome other brands apart from our specialty. I mean, I do believe marketing-wise and business-wise, it's good to focus on certain
Stick with
brands.
what you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and you cannot know everything of every brand, but you can at least enjoy a couple, for example, staples. And if we're gonna start, I want to start by your watch on the wrist because, of course,
Myself.
it signifies your whole persona
Yes.
and even your name on Instagram.
Exactly. So people, the day has finally come. I am wearing a Tudor. And what I'm wearing today is the 7031, aka the Monte Carlo, aka the home plate. So the funny thing about this is, back in the 1970s, Tudor introduced these under the 2 reference, 7031 and the 7032. And I do think, or if I recall correctly, there was a 7033 which had the rotatable bezel. But I'm not sure if that ever came out, but I've heard about that one in the past. So do you know why they call it the home plate?
I do, actually.
Yeah?
So the shape of the markers, they kind of symbolize the home plate of baseball. Or they look like the home plate of baseball. And also because of the tritium on top of it, it discolors to a yellowish...
Yeah, like the clayish color of the baseball,
Exactly.
baseball field.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're going to offer this watch pretty soon. I love it. I'm very happy with it. It reminds me of the 6263 because this iteration has the acrylic bezel compared to the 7032 has the steel bezel.
And what I very much like is this also emphasizes Rolex willingness to bring more, let's say,
experimental
designs. But before integrating it to their main brand, they tried a lot of things out with Tudor, and Tudor was a great gateway into more, let's say, funky designs.
Absolutely.
That later on Rolex also kind of tried to implicate with Explorer 1655 with the orange hand, for example. But this one with the orange
the
totalizer,
Minitrack,
and the orange Minitrack and the orange hand is just very, very funky colored one and a cool design.
Yeah, and also, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first to have the mineral glass Cyclops at the 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the date.
Which is rather hard to find these glasses because the first 7031 I purchased was many years ago and it did not feature that glass. And I was stupid enough to think you could just get a regular glass with a date at the 3 o'clock and then just shift it, but then it doesn't line out properly.
Then the shape is different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So that was a big mistake and I paid like $1,800 to get an original crystal for it, but it ended up in a nice collection. So.
Absolutely. And next to that, a lot of parts on this watch are still from Rolex.
Yeah, so the pushers also, like the P301 pushers are on it, I think, MK1 pushers.
And the crown?
The crown, well, the crown is not so difficult to find, but these pushers, the original ones, they're also used on 6263, 6265, etc. So
they're often taken off from the Tudors and put on the Rolex watches.
The price of the pushers are like €3,500 euros.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
So, how about you? What are you wearing?
So on my wrist is a Piaget Dual Time. Of course, Piaget lately has getting a lot of attention, a big boost for the brand.
Yeah.
Also because these integrated bracelet models and these designs have been very popular, and they're hyped quite a bit via Instagram, for example.
Absolutely.
And Piaget really is the brand that, in my humble opinion, spiked the most interest in the last year or year and a half or so.
Yeah.
But this is something totally different. This is a cool watch. It's a dual time. It features 2 movements, and this one has a nice finishing. It's a 1970s watch. I purchased it at the Monaco Legends Group auction.
Absolutely.
We're going there in 2 weeks again.
Yeah.
So let's see
Very
what
excited.
we can pick up there.
Very excited.
But this is a cool watch because I very much like the finishing. You have this hobnail finishing on the bezel, but also the dial has this finishing. Yet, the both sub-dials, they're flat, smooth, and you have the Asprey signed at the 6 o'clock position, bringing perfect balance. So up you have Piaget, down you have the Asprey, then the 2 sub-dials with nice numerals, because
the
you also have
numerals?
the Breguet numerals, because you also have different fonts, and I think they're a little bit outdated, and this one looks quite contemporary, quite young, and I think it's a very challenging design they made back then, also with the crowns on both sides, so really symmetrical wristwatch.
Absolutely.
And it is for sale. I think it's offered slightly under 20k or so.
Yes.
Pretty cool watch, and it's one of the finds we did during auction, where we like to also challenge ourselves.
Though.
Yeah, it's spontaneous.
You bought it spontaneously.
Yeah, I wanted to purchase the lot, like 3 lots before, but unfortunately I missed that. So I was like, well, this looks kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. It was cool, and we got it, so that's nice. So how about we start with the selection we have right here. Different brands. We have Breguet, we have Jaeger LeCoultre, we have Blancpain, we have Corum, out of all, Chopard, Richard Mille, Parmigiani, and Giorgenta.
Yeah, so if we're going to start with the 2 divers here, I think they're very significant historically.
Absolutely.
Of course, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms made some claims they're the first dive watch, like many brands did, which isn't the case. But they were supposed to be launched in 1953. This is a very first generation one. We sold many 50 Fathoms.
Yeah, we've had a few.
Cool ones, the no radiations. This is the first one, so the Rotomatic first series that has still the original minute hand that has an extra segment into it. The original bezel, it's in pristine condition. I might even claim this is the best 50 Fathoms I've seen in the past 5 years. For sure, it's the best we've ever offered.
It's astonishing.
It is. It's very, very important watch. I think it does deserve a place in every tool watch collector's collection. And the same goes to say for the Polaris Memovox. Yeah, very
stunning
cool
watch.
Yes. So this is the earliest alarm submersible watch they ever made.
With 3 layers on the case back or something?
Yeah, so it's a super compressor case that this case design makes it waterproof, but it's been used by many brands, including Girard-Perregaux. Of course, the Memovox is perhaps, the Polaris is perhaps the most important one. A nice finishing on the crowns. Yeah. We will put the alarm in place in a bit.
Let it chime, yes, absolutely.
Let it chime. And it's pretty cool, so the chime was used to get all the divers to go back.
So they could set the watch, the Memovox, I guess, with the alarm, so they would notify when they ran out of oxygen and had to resurface.
Yeah, and so this is a cool combination because Memovox has been a watch in the early stages of Amsterdam Vintage Watches that was quite important. We sold many. They were beautiful. One very favorite of mine had a tuxedo dial with a blue inner center. It was amazing watch. But the Polaris, on the other hand, is an important dive watch, and these two combined, you have a very spectacular looking watch. It's rather big, so it might be for
42 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken.
For the bigger,
which was very large in that time.
It is. Yeah, and this is a 1960s watch that turned tropical, so the outer
the tropical dial, I was about to say, beautiful. And Memovox stands for Latin. Memo and Vox is
memoir.
Memoir.
So reminder.
So memory and voice.
Yes.
So yeah. There we go.
You might use it.
Because I should use it, yeah, exactly.
Your memory is terrible.
Absolutely. Next watch. We have the Breguet Rattrapante, which stands for split-second chronograph.
It doesn't stand, it's just a translation.
It's a translation in French, yes, absolutely. I knew that. This is, I would say, a favorite of yours.
Yeah.
Next to the house of Breguet.
Yeah.
We've had a few in the past.
True.
Such as the Tourbillon. We had a beautiful, stunning platinum Tourbillon.
Yeah.
That was a crazy 3355?
I think it was 3357.
3357?
No,
that was the normal one.
3355. We had that 3357. You mean the one
Yes.
with the platinum bracelet?
That one.
Yeah, 3355.
Yeah. We also had a 3357.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so of course the Tourbillon has been made famous by Abraham Louis Breguet. He also contributed a lot in that complication. So it is a staple in their collection. But same goes to say for the Rattrapante, because they also integrated the Rattrapante, the Retour en Vol, the flyback.
Retour en Vol, yes.
You know, so the chronographs are very important for Breguet.
Yep.
The Retour en Vol is of course different than a Rattrapante, which is a split second, and the Retour en Vol is a flyback.
Yep.
But they also use the flyback chronograph on the Type 20s, the military issued ones, which I made a video about on the KOV channel.
Important watches too.
We had many of those, but the last one we sold last weekend, so unfortunately we can't show you any of these. But we're happy to showcase this because it's also like, it's diametrically opposed to each other.
Yep.
This is really for the very gentleman-like and very the bourgeoisie.
The case is amazing.
And the Type 20s are really utility watches for military. So it's fun that they're kind of thrived in both directions. And I find these very...
important?
Not important. Looking for the word.
What word is it?
Imposant.
Impressive.
Impressive. We'll go with impressive. I find these very impressive. And you see a lot of design features from the Daniel Roth era. So the coin edge finished case, the dial that's made out of white gold, and with the guilloche,
yes.
And that has the secret signature on top.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, if you look closely, we might be able to show that on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the secret signature, absolutely.
And it's quite thick, also because of the hand stack. You need two chronograph hands, of course, and you have the chronograph Rattrapante module built on top. It's a La Mania based Bausch, pretty spectacular watch for a very decent price. If you would take
it's quite accessible for the complications you have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. If you would take a look at Patek Philippe or whatever for their Rattrapantes, this is an absolute joke. Price.
Yeah, it's stunning. We love Breguet. They're known for their many inventions of complications, I would say, but a lot of brands claim that on their own, of course. We'll never really know. Next to that, we have a stunning, one of your favorites as well. I absolutely love it. One of the best or most known watch designers ever, Monsieur Gerald Genta.
Yeah, I purchased this on a drunk night in a restaurant with my friend Serjan, World Time. So I can't overpay it, so it's listed now for even less than I paid.
Okay, yeah.
But if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, because I love this watch very dearly. I've worn it quite a while. It has an internally faceted crystal that gives this very interesting display of the light.
Yeah.
The dial is it's a 1990s watch. The dial is the very first dial made out of carbon fiber. The sub-dial rings are mother of pearl. Yeah. The chronograph pushers, if you push them...
They're suction type of technology?
Exactly. Super cool. So it's also waterproof. Intricately designed bracelet. Beautiful. It's made in yellow gold. Important designer, obviously.
Kind of a porthole design as well, like you see in other designs of Gerald Genta.
Really Gerald Genta kind of style. We've had multiple Gerald Gentas, including, for example, the Disney watches with Donald Duck and stuff.
The Fantasy, I think they're called.
Yeah. But this one for me is also because it's quite chunky, is the nicest to wear on the wrist.
Absolutely. If you wear it, it takes a lot of attention. It's a conversation starter, in my opinion. You mentioned the faceted glass. We have another watch which we just acquired, and if I'm not mistaken, of Amsterdam Vintage Watches first of that brand.
Had a Corum. Dario hates the Corum coin watches. He really hates them. But we've had a Corum coin watch before. And many years ago we had this Corum, it's called the Pebble, I think, or the Bubble.
Oh, we've had a few
huge crystal. Okay. No, only these two we've had. And this is the third one. But again, just like with the Corum Bubble or Pebble, or I think it's called Bubble.
Yeah, okay.
The glass is very interesting on this one for sure.
This is stunning. Like, we were just talking about it this morning. How do we call it?
Well, it's a prism. So the top side is the same as the bottom side, also faceted. It gives a like kaleidoscopic effect if you look at it from the side.
I call it the Mirror Palace. I'm not sure if that'll stick, but it's an amazing skeleton dial piece of kit.
And the movement is hand engraved, signed #1, so that's pretty cool too.
It's the first.
Yeah, and the size is pretty.
36 millimeter?
36 and a half.
Yeah,
so
36
it's pretty
and a half,
huge.
yeah.
compared to many other skeletonized watches, for example, by Audemars Piguet from the 1970s.
Still very sleek though, like it's sleek, and the faceted glass is also seen on the rear.
Yep.
So you can see it from both sides. Beautiful 18 karat gold case, stunning watch, and we'll be dropping that on the website today. We are Thursday today, so
it's going live now.
Yeah, if it's still there,
no clue if it's gonna sell or not.
Yeah, well, if it's still there, check it out on the website.
This might be a watch when you list it, 4 or 5 people want to buy it, but it might also be a watch that nobody's interested in.
That'll stick around for a little while.
But it's fun to have, so we're happy to offer this.
It's super cool, super cool. Then we have here next to it. I'm gonna let you do the talking because this is something.
So
this is something crazy.
The Chopard Imperial. I got it offered 2 days after I got invited to a Chopard dinner that's happening tonight. Unfortunately, well, I actually had a couple of Chopards. I have the 1860 still, which is a beauty, and I have the skeletonized.
You still have that one.
Predecessor of the Alpine Eagle.
Yeah, true.
So that's pretty cool one. I still have that one. But I had this watch offered 2 days after I got invited, and I was like, well, if I buy this, I'm going to be the guy there at the party. You have to wear that. So this is an Imperial.
Crazy.
Sporting close to or over 12 carats or close to 12 carats of diamonds. Yeah. It has a mother of pearl subdials. It's pavé Z dial. We have a lot of sapphires going on. Luckily, the bracelet is huge. It comes with 4 extra links because probably the links are like 10K each. Yeah. Came with the invoice from 2006.
Now that was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was sold in Dubai. So if you calculate the currency, it was like close to or slightly over 220,000.
200K or something?
Something like that.
Crazy.
So pretty fun to have this watch. It's a really baller watch. I brought it out to the get-together. Everybody was quite impressed. Many people thought it was a Pasha, but if you take a closer look, I mean, on the side of the case it says
quite clearly.
Quite Chopard. Clearly,
yeah,
with,
indeed,
with capital letters.
I would say Chopard next to Cartier are also very well known for their craftsmanship in jewelry. So this is definitely someone who bought it for either their wives or someone who would really like to show off.
Yeah, and I love Chopard because we've been good with the Scheufele family, of course.
Absolutely.
My friend Juan Garcia, who sadly passed away, I had a good relationship with him. He made me appreciate the St. Moritz that I still have, that I will never sell because it reminds me of him, late Juan Garcia.
You made a nice video with him, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice video at the Chopard factory. We did a nice visit. We have the 1860 wristwatches. We have the 1860 Chopard clock in our lounge.
Absolutely, that needs a new battery.
It does. It does need
for
a new
quite
battery.
some time.
For quite some time, for a year or two. But I love the brand, and I think it's this is a very interesting watch.
Yeah,
and it's really balling on a budget because if you take a look at the retail value, we're gonna offer it.
What are we gonna price it for?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna enjoy it first a bit, but in the end, it's gonna be way less than a historical retail price.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's for sure.
It's beautiful, it's stunning.
Another watch that differs quite a bit from the historical retail price is the watch you picked up last week.
In Belgium, yes.
In Belgium.
Absolutely.
So most of these watches, even the watches that are outside our usual portfolio, we just buy straight out. This is a watch we took in consignment because it's a test, it's a trial.
Yes, absolutely, but it is something to behold on its own.
Yeah.
It is a Parmigiani Fleurir in platinum with minute repeater, tourbillon, and annual or perpetual calendar. I'm not sure.
We have to check it.
We'll have to check it out. But people, this piece is astonishing. Like you have the cool, you can see the movement through the back. You have the Emaille case back.
Officer case back, and the Emaille on the case back is super cool in blue.
Yeah, it's a piece unique. The gentleman, it's from the first owner. The gentleman was very close with the Parmigiani people. He was invited to a lot of dinners. He had good contact. He purchased multiple watches from their house. And he got the opportunity to configure his piece unique. So we went for a floral pattern of guilloche on the dial and an Emaille floral pattern on the back. The complications. However, the retail price, back in the day, 2008 people, just after the financial crisis hit, the gentleman paid, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was 500,000 Swiss francs. That
is a lot of money.
Is a lot of money. But if we're being honest here, Parmigiani Fleurir, also very close with supplying parts to the Patek Philippe house. Yeah. If you would get this configuration, a piece unique, first of all, these complications with Patek, you wouldn't even be knocking on the door for 800K, I would say.
Yeah, it's indeed an interesting value proposition. You can have multiple angles on it.
Yeah.
But it's very nice to offer it. I do believe that Parmigiani deserves a place in as one of the most important
Absolutely.
contemporary brands because it's quite young still. And Rutger also inspired me to love the Tonda and to look into the Tonda and the earlier models of, not the Tonda, what's the name? Rutger? Die Parmigiani. Die jij vet vindt? Niet de Tonda. Toric, thank you.
Toric, yeah.
Thank you. So the Toric is pretty cool.
They make some nice stuff, absolutely.
Yeah, and the earlier ones are aesthetically very nice, but all of them are mechanically outstanding.
That's what I was going to say. Like they're very good at their craftsmanship.
Yep.
So we're gonna put that online within the next few weeks, I would say. Stay tuned on the website for sure. Keep an eye out for that piece. It's amazing. Beautiful pictures, by the way.
Shall we close it?
No. We got one more piece we have to discuss. This bad boy right here. Perhaps, Jasper, I will let you do the introduction. You want to say anything about this?
No, I plead the fifth. You go ahead.
Okay, so people, from our colleagues over in Dubai, our good friend Ramon, Collectors Gallery Dubai, we have acquired this piece.
Not we.
Well,
they
have required, exactly, they.
You and Ramon.
Yeah, me. I also work with Collectors Gallery Dubai, by the way. So we have this RM010, which is the second. Yeah, I'm not going to even look. It doesn't even really matter. But it's the second Richard Mille from their offering, I believe. It's a bit bigger than the RM005, and yeah, I won't say too much about it. But it is an amazing piece, titanium, skeletonized. It's available, so I'll leave a link to them as well. And I guess we'll just start. It's not a Rolex Patek AP or Cartier.
No, for
so
sure.
We had to fill the box, let's be honest.
We had to fill the box.
We had to fill the box.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would have liked to fill the box with another watch that's doing quite well with us, the 222.
The 222 Vacheron.
Yeah.
We do have these every now and then on a rare occasion.
Yeah.
We've sold an amazing piece 3-4 months ago.
The white gold?
The white gold,
yeah.
Possibly piece unique.
Well, it was believed to be a piece unique. So one sold at the Philips auctions.
When was that? 2022?
22?
Okay, yeah.
21, perhaps. For a ridiculous amount. Was a white gold one with a replaced bezel and replaced dial. But it said on the extract, to the best of our knowledge, this is the only 44018. Well, it was a sub-reference of it, I think, 44058. So the best of our knowledge, it was the only 222 jumbo that we have delivered in white gold.
And that's Vacheron speaking.
Yeah, and then we found the second one, so that was pretty cool.
That was a very
Apparently
very cool
Vacheron didn't even know it existed. But ours still had the original dial, the original bezel, gem set bezel.
Original papers?
Original papers, original box, but also a note by Vacheron saying they will make this watch for this very important collector from South America. And that they kind of miscalculated the price for the watch, but that they will stick to their word. But it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be way higher in price. But of course, because they appreciate his loyalty, he will still get it for the price they discussed. So that was quite a spectacular watch. Of course, it fetched not nearly the same price as the one at auction.
No, absolutely not.
Then it was still believed to be the piece unique, and we found the second one. So I guess the buyer of that one was quite annoyed.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But that was a beauty. Piece. That was a beauty. And 2 weeks ago, you sold the 44018 with the grey dial.
The steel one with the grey dial, beautiful patina, I would say, or like aging on the boom plots. Beautiful. I sold that 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Dutch collector.
Dutch collector. He owns a few 222s, and I would say the 222 is a bit undervalued for what it is.
Because the other 44018s we sold, they all went to the same gentleman, Australian collector. Yeah. And he has the steel one, the white gold one, he bought a yellow gold one. We had some mid-sized ones, which are pretty cool too.
Yeah, they're, what millimeter are those?
Like 36, so it basically is like, it wears like a 14790 or 3800-ish kind of sizing.
Also very nice, but you know, there's only 500 of those 44018s out there, in all metals, if I'm not mistaken. And it's way rarer than its brethren, which it's often compared to, also like a porthole design, the Nautilus, the Royal Oaks.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that watch was already sold and picked up by the new owner. Yeah, absolutely. So we had to include this watch.
this watch. You were about to say something else.
No, I wasn't.
Well, people, it's a short but hopefully interesting episode this time of showcasing the watches we often purchase next to our go-to four brands.
Yeah.
People, stay tuned, like, subscribe, please maybe even put your notification bell on. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next week.